On Wednesday, hundreds of thousands of workers staged protests across Europe against austerity measures and rising unemployment. Rallies took place in 23 countries, including France, Belgium, and Greece.
Only when all of Europe awakens and all of her workers will they be forced to sit down and see what the problem is, why the people are on the streets. They don't seem to be at all concerned why people are on the streets.
Anger is especially high in Greece, where lawmakers passed the country's austerity budget on Monday, on top of a separate bill of deep spending cuts and tax hikes. The country now heads into its sixth year of recession. Thousands of workers also took to the streets in Spain, and as Roee Ruttenberg reports, some demonstrations in Madrid turned violent.
This is how it all ended here in the Spanish capital, Madrid. In the last few minutes, police clearing these streets of thousands of protesters, some of whom were lighting things on fires, others which were launching firecrackers. Now, the demonstrators were out here to protest against Spain's austerity measures that they say are hurting the general public and not helping this country's economic crisis. The streets, as I said, are now clear. Police are moving out, but this is not how this evening started. Just hours earlier, tens of thousands of people turned out to this police-sanctioned rally, like in other cities all across the country. The demonstrations were organized by Spain's two largest unions and marked the end of a day-long nationwide general strike, the second one this year, meant to oppose government reforms.
We're here to stop the cuts, to show the government that they have to change their policies, rescue the people, not the banks.
It's those banks that spent pension funds on bad investments, prompting a cash shortage of up to $125 million, and ultimately sending Spain's borrowing costs through the roof. The conservative government, which was elected into office 1 year ago next week, began slashing Spain's relatively generous welfare benefits to save money. But protesters say the working class and public sector workers have been unfairly targeted. The government says the cuts are necessary. Meanwhile, unemployment has soared, reaching nearly 26%.
The way it looks now, I think I'll have to work abroad. There's no future here. Before, at least, I had hope for opportunity.
Police made a strong showing, barricading this road leading to the Congress and keeping the demonstrators away. And then confrontation. Protesters threw bottles and rocks at police, who in response fired rubber bullets and stink bombs. At the same time, from Brussels to Berlin, this was the scene in cities across Europe. Here, demonstrators in Italy, opposing that country's EU-backed cuts, clash with Italian security forces. It doesn't appear in Spain that things will get better anytime soon. The economy here is expected to contract by nearly 1.5% this year. And while these flames may have been extinguished, the crisis here seems set to burn on. Roee Ruttenberg, CCTV in Madrid.